Jason Bourne. This is the second one I'm watching for like the fifth time in like 2 days. I just put it on and I glance up because there's always so much cool shit in Jason Bourne. This is my official administrator. It's too loud. Gotta turn that one down too. Oh, it's still too loud. It's a good bass. Anyway, this is what I do all day. My administrative position allows me to like answer everybody's questions, watch TV, go have a workout outside, go down and have lunch because I don't have to make it. And sometimes I do crazy stuff like I did for 2 days. I just cycled from Toronto to Newmarket and back. And for people that live in my area, when I tell them, they're like, what? And I said, yeah, well, I slept for a few hours on the side of the road. Nice grassy knoll, far enough away from the traffic, but in a spot where nobody walks, and there's a nice, awesome walk path and some nice homes with a high fence with no cracks in it so they couldn't see me sleeping there, and it was really great. Then the sun came up and off I went again. And on the way, as soon as I hit downtown Toronto, I probably told about 25 to 30 people in person about Savage Gains, and many of them pulled their phone out and could now be watching this video because I'm like a one-man marketing army. And I used to work for probably the biggest, most successful supplement and nutritional slash, what do you call it, nutraceutical companies on the planet called Iovate Health Science, which is the mother company for Muscle Tech. I used to be a Muscle Tech athlete. I've been in a Nitro Tech ad. I was like, hi, I gained a little bit of muscle because I never really get fat and I don't really get too skinny, and I was mentored by a pro bodybuilder from the 90s. So I know how to do what's called lean gains, which is I did my entire career, which is why I always had a 28-inch waist and I never had any fat on me at all. And basically, the most my weight would fluctuate at the end of my career was like 20 pounds. And I would just lose probably like 10 or 15 pounds is just water. So I'm making this video because I have had to begin blocking posts from people that have direct advertisement for gear, and that's all they post. Okay? And then as I was feeling my usual like discomfort, because the discomfort for me is I'm like, I don't like being an asshole to anybody. And so this is the only part of being an admin that makes me uncomfortable, is being so careful to say the right thing and not offend anybody or do any of the behaviors that I'm, muting people for. And I'm really good at it because I was a moderator of a very hardcore site called Serious Muscle. Is it Serious Muscle? SeriousMuscle.com. No, SuperiorMuscle.com. Anyway, I've posted it up, and I was the Anabolics board moderator. And the reason why I was is because they knew that I knew more than the lot of them about juice, because I was like an international steroid dealer before there ever was one, and I know about the underground steroid market. Are there really good and awesome underground steroid labs? I'm sure there are, but unless I had it sent out and tested, there's no way I'm gonna have like someone advertise on a space that I'm an administrator for and know that maybe perhaps someone could die of a freaking abscess or whatever. You have no idea what people are capable of that do these types of operations and where many of them are actually funded from. You see all the addicts on the street. If you think drug dealers didn't say, oh, this is a great untapped thing, we'll just like put a little bit of money aside and make some steroids. Make sure it's sort of a little bit clean, and make sure you put the shower curtain around the shower when you're making it, and don't let anyone smoke crack in there. That's good. Next month they're like, oh really, we made 500 grand? Nice, let's get a really big bathtub. And then they use a kiddie pool after they swam in it or whatever. I know one guy that would proudly piss in a batch. It's disgusting. So now that you know these things, just be sure that you've used some other place like Reddit or wherever you go and find your gear there somewhere else. I mean, I found a reputable source I feel like it's one on Quora, which is like in the US, you would call it a liberal leaning, whatever site where everyone's like offended, even if you talk about Donald Trump, that kind of stuff. It's just whatever. I'm apolitical. I just think it's hilarious. I love Donald Trump, not for his politics, but because he's the greatest troll that ever lived. He's taught me a lot, and it actually helps me, weed out trolls too. So these things make me uncomfortable. And today I posted a post when someone posted a picture at the start of it. I said, "Welcome, awesome picture." And then I just put a nicely worded thing that I feel was nice and just said, "It looks like you might be advertising that stuff. As long as that's not all you're talking about all the time." And that doesn't, it's just, you might want those types of people, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep modifying the thing that I put under that person's post, and I'm just going to refine it, and it's going to be my, in my quick draw, holster in my clipboard. And it's going to be perfectly worded so that it cannot be offensive. It's just going to say, just tone down the thing in your Facebook, or just build another Facebook profile and make that the one that you're going to be a year on with, or whatever. What if it's like more like people are looking at your thing and there's this big thing that looks like it's a nice article that you attach, but meanwhile it's the same freaking thing saying, "Come over to our group." So, that's juice advertising. Now, I got to think about this after I just said that. Do I really care? Not about something like that. But if it's obvious, like if it's almost like a bot, like someone does a post and all of a sudden there's this like gearswhatever.com, you won't even know that we did it. You'll just be gone. But I always go and check, because I'm always looking at everybody that gets good post reviews and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that post actually got a really big reach, and there's like 600 people interacted. I like that. What administrator on a space wouldn't want like a huge reach? This guy must know some people. So then I looked and I'm like, oh, he's a competitive bodybuilder. So I just went and liked it. And that's the other reason why I made this, because that'll probably be the last time I make that mistake, which is I'll let people post for a few days with no nothing. This is just me. Other administrators can do other things, right? There's mods and administrators. It's not just me. But I'm also letting them know, because they can watch this video. They could be watching it. Holy crap, it's hot up here. Hold on here. This will really make some nice white noise in the background, because it's freaking sweltering. It's a good thing to use creatine in the summertime too, because it helps keep you hydrated. Intracellularly, not extracellularly. And so this is just me explaining, because I'm going to find some way to make an announcement, because I haven't figured out how to do that yet. But that's all good. So anyway, also the other thing is we were thinking and considering that we may create like a Savage Gains hardcore space, and then it'll just be like, sure, everyone knows that that's what goes on in here, but we'll also, like, at some point we're gonna find a way, like I might say to some people, if you have stuff, send us a sample. We'll send it to the lab. We'll get all the results back. We'll send you the results, and we'll also post the results, but it won't be posted here. If they're good results, it'll get posted over on the other one, and then we know that we're safely sending some people to a good spot. And it's kind of like Dave Tate, who's a really well known in the past powerlifter and sportsman. He's on Quora, and he advertises napsgear.org, napsorg.com. Do I feel safe saying that? It's Dave Tate, okay? Of course I do. He's friends with people like John Berardi, Christian Thibodeau from T-Mag, all these people, right? Like, yeah. He's like a sort of Bill Phillips kind of era guy. So, of course, he's not going to be advertising stuff. And really, that site is like, it's got a whole pile of different people on it. Like, not people, companies that are listed. And you could mix and match from a bunch of different suppliers, which obviously they've already checked into. And this is why I say it's easy to find a supplier online. But is it easy to find a good one? I was even surprised that Dave Tate was advertising that, and I made some negative comments a little bit about Dave Tate. He's probably never seen those comments. because I never put his name. I just kind of make these, underlying comments with no names, and then people that were doing that would know. So I was kind of like, Cora is like, you can openly advertise juice? It's like, holy crap. Anyway, I've been out of the fitness arena like directly for a while now. But training from 10 years old until 34 years old, the final 12 years being one competition every year. I only won one overall, and it was only a level 1 here in Ontario. But I don't mind, because I beat my good friend Lou Joseph, who like very next year became a pro bodybuilder. Right? And my good friend Scott Milne, may he rest in peace, the moose master of the iron. All like 6'4", 6'5", whatever, 335 pounds with abs off season. And you thought he was going to jump on stage the next day if all he did was look at his arms. He looked over at my ex-wife as I was doing the Ontarios for the first and only time, and he said, "He just doesn't take enough shit." Because she'd asked him why I didn't look quite as... Just, there's that look you get when you jack up the milligrams and blast the freaking diuretics like crazy and do all these other things. And that wasn't my vision of bodybuilding. Okay? I'm more of a Frank Zane type of guy, where they called him the chemist, not because he was taking piles of stuff, because he barely took anything and looked how he did, because he just knew exactly what to do. And that's what I have to say about that. I've been told by others that are experts on what they were talking about, because they're like sports marketing directors that make like $250,000, and they know what will turn into a pro bodybuilder or not. And one time I asked one of them, when I was having a look at me at the Muscle Tech headquarters gym, the old one, the good one in Mississauga. They had the best mirrors and lighting, and the photographers are there. And I looked at him and I said to the guy, "Do you think I could turn pro?" Because even then I just, and he just looked at me and went, yeah. So, shape, size, all the rest of it. But I would have had to put on about another 40 pounds of contest weight to even get into a pro show. And I want to live till I'm 100 years old and be part of a group called Centenarians. And to do that, you basically have to look like this or smaller. Because every ounce of live tissue that you have takes mitochondria and energy to sustain it, not to build it. All you're doing is building up the muscle when you do anabolics. It's a potent nutrient partitioner and also a potent buffer for stress of all kinds, physical, emotional, and mental. For the entire time that I took anabolics, I took what I call like 1970s and 80s dosages. If you actually average it all out over my entire career, I probably did about 150 milligrams a week, all total. And there's some weeks where I just didn't even do it because I was just sick of sticking needles in myself. And I did not like using orals. I would fool around with that stuff. And yeah, this is like a get to know me video. I encourage other administrators and authors and experts and stuff to do this. I mean, video is the most powerful thing. Why do you think that YouTube's like crazy? And people are on TikTok, and I don't like TikTok. I can't even like put a picture of a joint up and it's just like delete, banned. Talk about anything real, banned. It's like, that's unreality. This is reality, right? I've got enough white noise and stuff going in the background that I can still listen to my favorite Q107, Toronto's best classic rock that I've listened to my entire life, and not get banned, because I put everything on YouTube and then I post it here. So then I can then take these YouTube videos and slap it up on my Facebook and on my Quora and advertise Savage Gains more. I put my first post for Savage Gains up on Quora. I've had almost 3 million views there. I don't care about people following me or like any of that. I only care about views. I don't care if you liked it, but if you keep coming back and viewing my stuff, that means that you're interested and you're kind of like I don't know whether I like it because half the time people don't even understand what I'm talking about. That's all. So I stated today on one post, I'm like, after a while when you're in the fitness industry, if you don't like kind of morph and change a little bit, you kind of get tired of it after a while, giving advice and stuff, and it's the same questions over and over again. But after a while, and if you take a whole pile of time off, it's like there's this renewed thing. So I've taken a total of 12 years off from training and all PED use. I didn't even do TRT. I didn't even take Clomid, HCG, Nolvadex, nothing when I was done. But I already made up my mind. I'm like, I'm going to be able to say I'm the only person, basically, that has ever stopped taking steroids and not went on to TRT or even done any PCT, because your body's going to eventually go to where it's going to go normally if you're taking nothing, and that's what you're looking at right now. That's it. I don't go to the gym. I don't do any special diet. I sporadically use a few different supplements that I know will quickly restore my body homeostasis if I've done, I don't know, too much of anything negative with my biology over any extended period of time. In the last 4 years, I've been doing a live biohack, which is basically me collecting a whole bunch of personal data and writing about it, and it's going to be the basis for my thesis in sociology, but it's going to complete my kinesiology degree, and then after that I might even make it my master's in psychology and expand on it, because the last 4 years have been like, I could write 20 papers, I could write 100 papers on the different psychological and socio-psychologic effects that the last 5 years of technology and bonehead bureaucracy have caused, including the scamdemic. Yes, I did get my shot. Okay. I'm so glad that I haven't seen any posts about that I'm almost regretting that I even said that, but this is me talking about me so that people on there can know, because if this thing keeps growing how fast it is, like, I'm gonna have a really good reputation, just like I do in real life. And I'm proud to say that in my own personal Facebook page, you can go back right to the beginning, which was like before any of you were basically on Facebook, because you had to be at a post-secondary school institution, interested in social media, and have had a email based from your school. I was going to Sheridan College. That was 1995 to 1996, and I was already on the Facebook. I told tons and tons of people about that. Everybody laughed, looked at me like I had a horn grown into my head. But obviously a few people went on there, because now like 3/4 of the planet is on there. So I've always been somebody that back in the day, unknowingly, was always like 15 to maybe even 20 years ahead of everybody, thought process and thinking about the future. And it could be a culmination of the fact that I had no television growing up, and neither did any of my relatives. And I didn't really hang out with anybody except my relatives, because there were so many of them, and we had a very strict familial subculture, because we were part of a very secular religion called the Christadelphians. There's only 25,000 of them left in the world. It's a very small group of people, and they have some very specific beliefs, and I was indoctrinated into that from birth up until I was 16. And I got a girlfriend, and I used to stay home from church on Sundays instead. But Jason Bourne, as he's walking along with the hot blonde, she's like the best. Anyway, she supposedly dies in this one, but I've seen the more recent ones, and for some reason, I think I've seen her again. But she was way fitter here, and maybe we should contact her and get her on Savage Gains and say, hey, if you're still chubby like in the last one, maybe we need to diet you down a bit and get you into another movie. So anyway, little about me, that's it. I'm about to go back to the gym, and I am about to start some PED use, but it's going to be TRT dosages, and my good friend, perhaps, who now lives in Florida, that I took over from. I took his position over at Muscle Tech, and he was the transformation guy, and then I became the transformation guy, known there as I was there officially on paper. I was the strength and conditioning specialist at Muscle Tech, right? And we had, I was like a part of the marketing team, and our group in the marketing team was the athlete relations department. So I'm like friends, professional acquaintances with Jay Cutler. I've met Ronnie Coleman. I've partied with Dorian Yates because he's friends with other friends of mine. And Johnny Jackson, Branch Warren, they're hilarious. I've taken Chris Cormier to the strip club. And I won't. He wouldn't. I'm like, come on, man, take your shirt off, get us some free dances. And he just wouldn't. I'm like, come on. Anyway, it's all good. But stuff like that. And so I'm a true industry insider, and I don't mean to insult anybody, but these are just things that's the only thing that I'm uncomfortable with. That's why I started this whole video. But I also wanted to do all the other stuff. And so if you're a new member and you're watching this, welcome to Savage Gains. My name's Eric Morrison. I go by Coach Fusion. Back in the day, I used to be known as like House, Huge, Train, E-Train, anything that was like big. And some of my friends even lie to people all the time, and they get away with it because I look bigger than I was. They were like, yo, you used to weigh like 280, man. And I'd be like, come on, man. You only got up to 250, and I lied about it, and it was only 241. So close enough to 250 for me. And I think the night before I probably was 250 because I don't remember what we did. I think that was I had a hangover when I went to the gym to weigh myself, and I think that's why I got on the scale at my friend's gym in London across from Big Ben. It's like the one mate, Curzon's Fitness. He was like one of the instructors there, and he's on here somewhere. He's also just finished doing his first competition. He's the same age as me. He's got a daughter, nice family going, and he finally decided to take the plunge. He always used to ask me about juice and all the rest, and we met in Portugal when I was a big juice dealer, and he was like, he will only get clenbuterol and T3. That's the only thing this guy ever did, maybe 3 times. And then in the meantime, COVID happened, and he'd been sitting around doing a lot of being online, I think, and he's probably like, you know what, I'm old enough, I've got my kid that I wanted. It's time to embark. And I believe he won the overall, or he got second at his first show, and he's now been invited to go and compete in Ireland or something. I don't know which federation is, but he looked freaking bang on fantastic. Yeah, if you're watching this, Keener, bang on, mate, bang on. It's fucking awesome. And so if you have any questions, let me know. That's me. I'm going to be making more of these videos because it's about passing on information, and to really pass on information, you have to impress upon somebody, your audience, whoever it is, that you are a greater authority than they are in certain aspects. And all I'm going to say is, at the very least, is I could sit with any doctor on this planet that knows anything about endocrinology, or any scientist, or any fitness guru. I've had one-on-one telephone conversations with Chad Nichols as an equal, as in, yeah, right? When we talked on the phone, he was learning stuff off of me too. So a lot of people don't even know who Chad Nichols is anymore. At one point, he did the whole Jim Carrey thing. He retired kind of from the industry. The next time I saw him again online, he had this big, huge beard. Oh, man. Too funny. He used to be married to Kim Chizevsky, who was like an Olympia-level competitor back in the 90s. And she was in a movie where the horse gets all chopped up into pieces, and you just see her walking away, and calves are just Chad Guru was like the guru. Chad Nichols was the guru of gurus, let's just say that. And then people he was in the era too of some of the guys that are coaching now. One of the people that learned a lot of stuff from Chad is now coaching, of course, Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy. And I'm friends with him as well. So Chris, I'm also friend with Chris Aceto's ex-wife, Laura Creval, because she's like a top Olympia competitor and the top female bodybuilder ever come out of Canada, and she's a good friend of mine as well. I've had her on my old YouTube channel. It was just a one-time thing, and we didn't manage to hook up due to life's whatever was going on again. So we only made the one video, but it was cool. And yeah, you're gonna meet a lot of interesting people on this site. It's just so cool. Like, I'm already seeing some people that I'm like, yeah, okay, this is like, this is the kind of person I'd go and be like, yeah, well, let's go and throw down some chest on like Friday, so that like we can get the fucking bench press to ourselves and everything, and we won't hang around afterwards. We'll make sure it's on Friday so we can go and eat pizza afterwards, right? Because you can start your freaking reloads and stuff on the weekends. And the weekend, you could say, my weekend starts on Friday right after I leave the gym. You can just go to fucking Pizza Hut. It's like, whatever. And that's it for today. I gotta get back to Jason Bourne, because this is the spot where she jumps on the motorbike with him and rides around town and then gets shot.